Francis here from MTBR, and today I'm going to give you our best recommendations for bike racks when you need to transport your beloved bicycles from your home to some faraway destination and you can't quite ride there, right? So it's a very broad and expanding category, but today we're going to focus on the hottest part of this segment called the Hitch Bike Rack. Hitch bike racks are the ones that go on the back of your vehicle, usually with a hitch receiver on your vehicle, and it comes in many configurations, and we'll give you a few examples of each so you get to know the options. But these racks have gained popularity because they're easy to mount. They're not too high on the roof or off the ground, so it's easier to mount, and they can go one bike to four bike, so it's very configurable, and it's away from the wind resistance, so you get better fuel economy and less wind noise from this type of rack. Obviously, you do need a hitch receiver on your vehicle. It's that hole. It comes in 1.25 inch and 2 inch. We highly recommend the 2 inch. In the old days, only trucks had the hitch receiver because they were traditionally used just for towing. But these days, they are most popular now for hauling, carrying your toys and whatnot. And so we in the bike industry have benefited greatly from the adaptation of all these hitch mounts and hitch racks. And any company could basically get in the game. When you do a roof rack, they're so specific. There's so many styles of roofs. It's impossible. There's only 3 or 4 companies that can do it. But on a hitch rack, anybody with a pipe and a rack can join in the game, and it's usually going to be compatible with your vehicle. So here are the best options, not in any particular order, because it's going to range from price and application, but see which one works out best for you. The first one we're going to recommend is called the Yakima Ridgeback. The 4-bike version is $380. They have a 2-bike version as well. And why is it good? It is a simpler one, a lower cost model. 4-bike usually can go up to $1,000. This one's $380, so it is quite a good value, good investment. And it's a hanging style bike rack, very compact and portable, easy to take on and off your vehicle. The pros is the tilt handle is easily accessible. It has a anti-wobble mount with a locking mechanism. It's obviously very compact and easily removable if you don't want it on your vehicle, blocking your tailgate and your license plate all the time. And it's built by Yakima, one of the most reputable companies in the business. The cons of this rack is it's not ideal for modern mountain bikes because it's a traditional hanging bike rack, so you do need a top tube that's horizontal or close to horizontal if you're going to use this. If you don't have, if you have a mountain bike with a very fancy suspension, full suspension design, then you need an adapter so you can hang your bike. The weight capacity is not the highest on this one for 4 bikes, so you have to keep an eye on that, especially if you're on rough roads. And it reduces the ground clearance depending on what bikes you're hanging off the rack. In summary, this is a good rack from a reputable company, and if you have a family, you need 3 bikes, 4 bikes, this is a pretty good solution before getting into the very fancy high-end stuff. Next rack I'd recommend is one of my favorite companies, US companies. I think most of their materials, the racks are made in the US, most of their materials are sourced in the US. It's a company called Saris, and they have the Super Clamp EX. So they have a 2-bike and 4-bike version. The 2-bike is $499, called the EX2, and the 4-bike is $999. So what's good about this rack? So the tilt handle again is easily accessible. It's a compact design that enhances rear visibility and parking ease, so it doesn't stick out of your vehicle too much. It's really quite uncanny how compact this thing is. The low weight of the rack, the 2-bike, is only 35 pounds. The 4-bike is 63 pounds. That's usually about half of what they traditionally weigh, and it's got good weight capacity on this. The cons of this is since two of the bikes are really close together, bike interference can occur. So you have to make sure the pedals are not hitting each other and the bars in the saddle. The loading unloading is not as easy as some of the bike racks because they are the two arms will share between two bikes, so you don't have two independent arms for each bike. You have two independent arms for two bikes. Next rack I can recommend is the T2 Pro XT, and $990 for this one for the 4-bike version. So it's quite expensive, but it's a Swedish company that has a really good reputation. And what it's got going for it, it's got a best-in-class tilt lever. It's right there, light action, super easy, and it's got a broad tire and wheel compatibility. The cups that hug your tire are pretty big, so it has a little lip for a road bike, but they can also do a fat bike, and it has a reliable security system. So the cons of this is the sliding arms could be tighter and more wobble free, and there's more limited side-to-side adjustability. Next rack we have for you is the 1UP USA Super Duty Double for about $680. 1UP USA is a very special company because it has a cult-like following, and the reason is these things are like works of art. They look like handmade, much like handmade bicycle, but in aluminum, in CNC aluminum, made in the USA, no plastic parts, just the best materials. So what makes it good is the tolerances are very tight. It's actually a really good value too because it's manufacturer direct. And when you see a rack that's 5 years old or 10 years old, it still looks like it's got a lot of life left in it. It still looks kind of new. And that's very different from all the other racks, which see a lot of weathering and scratches and whatnot. So very good rack, and it's like a Lego piece. It comes in one bike, two bike, or you could even do 3 or 4. So very modular, and tolerances are very tight. Downsides of this rack is it's kind of expensive, and if you want to paint it black or anodized black, it's an upcharge of $50, I think, per tray. The mounting of it is a little bit tougher than other bikes because the arms don't completely fold down flat. They're in the way, so when you have a long wheelbase bike, you have to kind of snake it in there. Another thing is the releasing the bikes is not so simple. It's not so easy because you have to depressurize or detension the arm before you can click that button. Next rack is the Rockymounts Backstage Swing Away rack. So this is a 2-bike rack with a 3-couplet sleeve. It has a lever arm that swings it to the side out of the way. This is now a very popular option because of vans and camper vans and whatnot. You want this rack out of the way so you could access your hatch, and instead of buying a separate attachment, this is all built in. So built in means it's more compact, the tolerances are maybe a little tighter, and they're made perfectly for each other. So if you want a swing away option, then you just buy the swing away built in. So $750. The downsides are, it's a bit heavy, 60 pounds, and there's no weight light in this thing. It's all one piece, and it only is a 2-bike option. You can't do 3 or 4 because it's just not that heavy duty built. Otherwise, it gets super heavy and super expensive. If you're not into the 4-bike. So next rack is the Kuat NV 2.0 rack. This kind of revolutionized the industry because they said, okay, we'll make you a nice rack. Make you a nice rack to match your Lexus or BMW, and you don't have to keep taking it off because it's not ugly. It's got some nice paint, nice anodizing and powder coating to make it presentable 100% of the time. So it's a very heavy duty built rack and very polished, nice wide trays. And it has a trick-up its sleeve too. It has a bike stand in there. So if you wanted to work on your bike, there's one right there. So the downsides is it's pretty expensive. Well, how much is it? It's $850, and you might not need this rack. You know, this bike stand. You know, not everyone needs it, and it's kind of it adds extra weight, extra space, all that. Even though it's nicely designed, so but a nice option nonetheless. And finally, the last option we'll present to you is the Lolo Racks 4-bike rack, and this one is available for $750. And this brings to your attention the style that an upright hanging style rack that is very popular with free riders, with downhillers, because it can carry a lot of heavy bikes with a simple mechanism. Downside is it looks like an antenna. It looks kind of crazy if you have a sedan, but it matches very well if you have a van or a truck. The mounting is very simple because it's cable free. No need for ratchets and locks and all that. You just hang the bike. And the other advantage is you could carry a lot of bikes because they're not extended away from the vehicle. When you stack them away from the vehicle, they get very heavy. They gain a lot of leverage over your car when it comes to bumps and when you're handling and turning and all that. So fairly efficient with space. So there you go. A lot of options for bike racks for sure, but we are in the post-lockdown era where so many people discovered biking and now they're discovering they need racks. So these are in very short supply. So get in there, shop diligently, and go have a first option, but have a backup option as well. And really, the best rack you can have right now is the one you can buy, because they're hard to come by. So buy one, and even if it's not perfect for you, by next year, you just get on the waiting list on your ideal rack, and you will not lose any money. You'll get your money back basically if you take good care of this stuff and resell it later. So there you go. Hope that helps you out.